another video from Paper Ball and Pen Tube. Today we're doing a comparison of a couple of pen tubes here. If you don't understand that, paper ball and pen tube, that's all air rifle is. Pen tube, paper ball, blow it out, bit of air, hit something at the end. This is just a glorified version of it. Now the reason I'm doing this video is because I could have done with this video, say, a year ago. When I started getting into PCP air rifling, I didn't know one air rifle from the next. Didn't want to spend a huge amount because I didn't want to kind of waste any money. We're all pretty cautious these days. So I had to kind of trawl the internet, see what I could find that was a decent price. I saw a video for this, the Nova Vista Alpha. This seemed to be a good price and you got a lot with it. Everyone said it was good value for money. But value for money is really something that, you know, people can talk about all day long. Really, it doesn't cost a lot. £325 this one cost me. Scope was additional, and that's not a lot of money for a PCP. Was I getting value for money? Don't know. People said I was, but how do you quantify that? So move on. 9 months. I decide to look at some more videos, and I see this. The Weirauch, how are we going to say it? Weirauch, I think I'll say that. No, I'm not going to say it that way. Weirauch. That looks like a brilliant rifle. You know, everyone says it is. Everyone says it's a great value for money, but it's twice the price. Value for money again. It's all in the eye of the beholder. So you know, I didn't know whether to buy that. I was paying twice as much. Am I getting twice as much rifle? How can you tell? I wish someone had come up with this very video, so I could tell whether by spending twice as much, I'll get twice as much done. I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I'm really on a hiding to nothing here. If I find that the Weirauch is a lot better, then I should have saved up more. I bought that originally and I've just wasted £325. If I find that the Weirauch is not, then I just wasted £750, whatever I just spent on it, to get that, when I should have just stuck with a Nova Vista Alpha. So really, like I say, I'm on a lose-lose with this one. However, I've been through this now, and to be honest, I'm going to give you my conclusion straight away. They're both really good rifles. I'd be happy to pick up either of them if I was going out and about. Now, I can hear what some of you are saying now. There is no way that Nova Vista is as good as that Weihrauch HW110. No way, I can hear you saying. I'm probably going to get a few comments as well. But let me quantify that. I'm going to go through a comparison point by point with each. We'll do a bit of accuracy, and then I'm going to give you my final conclusions and my quantification, why I think they're both good, equally as good, but different. You know. So looking at them both, spec that you get. Start with the trigger. Both of them have got really good triggers. The Weirauch trigger is super sensitive. So sensitive, in fact, that I fired it a few times without meaning to. The Nova Vista Alpha has got a slightly stiffer trigger. It's more of a trigger that I'd expect a gun to have. If you watch westerns or World War II films, this is the trigger I expect. There's a click there. Click, bang, it goes off. But if you're looking at super fine, long distance shooting, you'll want the Weirauch one, where it's super fine, and you know there's no pull on the gun at all. There's no way you can pull that out of alignment because it's so light. So they're both really, really good. You know, I'll give them equal scores on that. They're both moderated, brilliant. You know, for something that's half the price, it's good to get that involved. Equal scores on that. They've both got 10-shot mags. Weihrauch one is this very simple O-ring style, pop them in, slot them in. This is the Nova Vista Alpha. This is a twist around effect, twist it around, pop one in, twist it a little bit more, pop the next one in. It's pretty easy, to be fair, once you get used to it. Filler adapters. They both come with filler adapters. The Nova Vista Alpha comes up with this unthreaded, popping into the quick release attachment. The Weirauch comes with this threaded one. Now, because it's come with a threaded one and I didn't have a threaded adapter, I only had the quick release, I had to go out and buy a quick release adapter for the Weihrauch, so I'm afraid I've docked in a point for that. Regarding my scoring system, I scored them out of 55. The weighting of those scores depends on how important it is. So for example, accuracy is very heavily weighted, the trigger is quite heavily weighted, but things like this, very minor. So there's only 1 point down for the Weihrauch, just for having that old style screw-in adapter there. They're both side levers. The Weihrauch has a standard side lever. Pop it out. As you pull back, that rotates the magazine. There's a slight effort to push it forward and in, and that seats the pellet. Nova Vista Alpha, on the opposite, quick release, just effort is on the pull back there, and then it's very easy, one finger, just seats it back in. Slightly different, but equally as good. It's got the kind of biathlon attachment there, which makes it a bit easier to grab it quickly, but you know, they're both as good as each other. I'm not going to, you know, drop a point just for that. You notice the dimensions. The Nova Vista Alpha is longer by about 10 centimetres, 12 centimetres, but it's still usable. It makes it a bit more wieldy when you're not bench rest. The Nova Vista, the Weirauch, is very well balanced into the shoulder. You can move it around very easy. It's much more of a long rifle feel to the Nova Vista Alpha, but not because of the length. I think because of the balance. I'm going to dock a point for the Nova Vista of that one, purely because that is so easy. You know, so easy to carry that Weihrauch. Going back to the magazines, that's a very simple affair. This one has a shot counter on it. As it rotates round, it highlights the number of shots you are taken. Now, there's a lot of things to think about while you're shooting. I always lose track of how many shots I'm taking, so I really like that. There's no real way, I suppose you can try and see if there's a pellet seated in the next chamber, and it just pokes out the side, but I like that, that's easy. I'm going to give an extra point to that one. So well done for Nova Vista for that one. The Nova Vista Alpha comes with a single shot tray. The Weihrauch doesn't. That's another point to Nova Vista. You can buy one for the Weihrauch. I haven't. The reason it's useful is because pellets like Predator Polymag, the long ones, they will not fit into this magazine or this magazine. So to use those, you'll need a single pellet tray. Equally, people use obviously those pellet trays for more accurate shooting. So there's another point to Nova Vista. Plus point for the Weirauch. This magazine does not allow double stacking in the barrel, whereas this you can. As I say, I want to think about as little things as possible when I'm shooting. So that's a point back for Weirauch, because it's nothing more annoying when you've double stacked it and you think you've got it lined up and it goes everywhere. The Nova Vista has a power adjuster, whereas the Weirauch doesn't. It's here on the side. You can just see it about there. That said, it doesn't adjust the power by very much, and I don't use it because it just means I have to re-zero for the lower power. But you know, the effort's there. They've made that effort, so I'm going to give them an extra point for that. But like I say, I don't really use it. Bipod fitting. As you can see, I put bipods to them both. The Nova Vista comes with two front and back. So I've attached this Harris style bipod to the front very easily too. It also has a rounded stock underneath, and the curved top of the bipod fits very nicely to it. The Weirauch has no swivels. I had to buy a swivel which replaces the front screw, which is about under here. And then I tried to fit this pod, but because this is a wider, flatter stock, it just would not sit right. Some people have managed to get it, but I couldn't. So I've had to buy a additional Weirauch attachment that sits underneath, which again I've had to pad out and then sit that underneath. It works perfectly now, but it was a pain in the backside, to be honest. So that could have been a lot easier. So that was very easy. Literally screw it on, you're good to go. That, like I say, had to buy 3 different things to get it to work, but now it works fine. So that's a point off for Weihrauch, I'm afraid, on that one. Weight, both about the same actually, 3 kilograms for the shipment notes. For the Vista Alpha, 3.1 for the Weihrauch, pretty even. I've already discussed balance and deducted a point appropriately for that, so I'm not going to deduct it twice. Damage. How do you grade damage? Well, there's enough videos on the internet for both these that if you shoot small vermin, pigeons, rats, it's going to kill them. So I think fair's fair, equal on damage. Here's a good one. Shot count. The Weirauch has 200cc bottle at 200 bar. The Vista Alpha has 200cc 300 bar. A lot more. It's a lot more work to pump up, I'll give you. But you get about 50% extra shot count with an Vista. Talking about 130 with the Weihrauch, about 190. That's a little bit of an average there, but that's about the right numbers. So that's a big difference in shot count. And certainly I know that when I go down the range and I pay on a daily rate, I want to be there a while and I want to get some shots out, and I don't want to be pumping it up in the middle of my session. So that's a good amount, you know, fair play to them for that. You gain a point for that. Noise, let's go for noise. Weihrauch has a silencer or compressor. The Vista Alpha has a shroud. Both do about the same job. About 81 decibels out the box for both of these. You can fit an additional suppressor to the Vista Alpha. You have to buy an adapter which screws into the end here, which will cost you 25 quid, and then you need to buy a suppressor. So what's that? 50 quid for a decent one. Doesn't do a lot to it. Probably gets you down to, I don't know, 81, so maybe another 3 decibel. So it's a possibility, but like I say, out of the box, they're both the same, so I'm going to score them the same. What I would say is, don't shoot this without the silencer on it, because it's got a boom to it. That'll, yeah, especially indoors. Anyway, so durability, both great. This is plastic. This is that kind of soft touch plastic covering wood underneath this, soft touch on top. It's beautiful, to be fair. This is a harder plastic. Durability wise, both the same. Quality. This is where it kind of lets you down a bit on the Vista. This. It's pretty horrible, scratchy, hard plastic. What's this? It's beautiful, soft, it's kind of almost, you know, silky. It's lovely to hold that is. Don't like this. If only they'd spent a bit more on this. I would have paid an extra 50 quid and had better plastic. But that's where we are. So I'm afraid I'm going to dock you. In fact, I hate it so much. I'm going to dock you 2 points for that. Because I know there's a wood version, which is slightly more expensive, but I like black tactical looks. So I'm afraid 2 points down on that. The safety. Both have a safety. Listen to that. It's loud, it's clunky, it's a bit ugly. Tell you what though, the original Weihrauch 110s, safety was in silver, mag release was in silver. This latest version, this is only about a month old, both in black. It really looks much nicer, and I didn't like them. So at least they've adjusted it. This safety, this is about here, it's a nice little pellet design on the end there. Oh, yes. It's so simple, it's lovely. You know, I much prefer that than this. That sounds like it's made out of that plastic. It isn't. But, you know, that's the better safety. I'm going to give you +1 for that safety. So, where are we at? You've been keeping score? Nova Vista Alpha, 2 points up at the moment. Going into one of the crucial points, accuracy. It's no good if it doesn't shoot straight, if you haven't got nice tight groups. We need to know. My range here, my back garden, is 18 yards. Let's have a go at that. See if we can distinguish the two. Crack on. Boom, like that. Yeah, both shot really well. However, doesn't help me, does it? Here I have the two score sheets. The standard measuring tool for air rifling is the 5p piece. This is the Nova Vista Alpha. Completely covers it. Nothing showing there. Completely covers it. HW110. Completely covers it. Nothing showing there at all. So, doesn't help me one bit. I think it's time to go down that range I mentioned. Come on in. Let's go. Let's go out some further ranges. Start with 30. Let's crack on. Come on. So here we are, back from the range. Good session. Did some good shooting out there. The increased shot count from the Nova Vista was really good to have. But what are the results? Well, we were trying two different pellets, as you'll have seen. So we tried with the standard JSBs. This we have here, and we're looking at the main shot groups here, we'll exclude say 3 flyers for each. About a 1p covers all of them. The main group there, the main 7, and that 1p not quite as tight for the Nova Vista. So yes, I think the HW110 just a little bit better there. We then tried Hades. We've tried Hades before. We know that they shoot well in every gun I've tried them in. So we're going to exclude this flyer up here, the first one. But that's what 5p can just about see them, but it covers the centre, so centre to centre, that covers a 5p. And the same on the, can't even see that very well, can you? Same on the HW110, look at that, centre to centre, we're just about covering those, look at that. So that's pretty even as well. So, you know, slightly tighter for the HW110, so I'm going to give an extra point for the HW110. What I have noticed, it's been a couple of weeks since I did the first half of this video, is that the HW110 is more consistent. And also if I'm doing kind of quick fire plinking in the garden, it's more forgiving. In fact, let's do a little video to evidence that. I'm going to put together some little targets that I'm going to hit in real time. 3 targets, something to kill. Let's call them the dreaded woolly rat, because I'm not quite sure what they are. I'll see in a minute. Bizarre things. Let's kill some woolly rats. See who's best at killing. Took out some woolly rats. Well, the HW110 took out some woolly rats. Yeah, Vista Alpha wasn't quite good at that quick fire shooting, so another tick for the HW110. I think possibly it's because the HW110 has that slightly lighter trigger pull, so when you're moving quickly, you know, to pull the trigger pulls you slightly offline, whereas to just HW110 just guiding that trigger back. It's just feather touch, you know, it's not pulling you out. But as we've seen from the other target shooting, you know, once you're bench rested, once you've got a tripod, you've got time to sit down, control your breathing, your heart rate, everything else. You know, they're pretty much close. Yeah, the HW110 is much more forgiving. So to conclude, where does that leave us? Even scores, bizarrely. Which for one gun that's, you know, half the price of the other, seems a strange position to be in. How would I conclude this? The biggest comparison I can think of is to buying a car. You can buy a car and it will get you from A to B. It'll work. It'll have lots of little rinky-dinks, and you can be perfectly happy with it. That's the Vista Alpha. Or you could spend more and you could buy a Jag. You could buy a Mercedes. Does all the same things. Gets you there. Has lots of rinky dinks. But it's just beautiful to be in. The HW110 is just soft. Almost caress the thing to your shoulder. That's the difference that I see. It's that quality. There's no rattles, nothing moves. You know, Vista works just as well, as we've seen. It's got a few extra bits and pieces on it, as we have seen. But it's just the quality of the HW110. Which would I buy? Either. I've bought either. I'm happy with both. But I'm also happy that I've moved up to owning the Jaguar of air rifles. From owning, there's nothing wrong with Fords or Vauxhalls or anything like that. But yeah, but when you go into something different, it's just more reliable, it's more comfortable. You know, it's a beautiful thing to have. So I would recommend them both. But you know, if you want that extra bit of quality, extra bit of comfort, go for the Weirauch. That's my thoughts. You might agree or disagree. I'm happy to take comments. No one ever comments on my videos, so by all means be the first or second. Anyway,
Have a great time. Great shooting. Catch you later.